Hey, what's up? I'm Alex Hagendas Fredrickson.
I'm hendogswagner.com / the beginning.
Zachariah, Zach Attack Swope.
Cleary. James Cleary.
And this is
GeekTalk.
So we're here with Alex.
Yep.
Alex is my roommate, confidant, and gay lover
That's right.
who's been wanting to come on Geek Talk for the very long time.
Yep.
And we're glad that he's here.
He's kind of our intern now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be an intern. Go get me a coffee.
Thanks for having me, sport.
Alright, so he's gonna be talking about Xbox One for a little bit. So
Because he owns one.
I have an Xbox One, and I hear this. The Geek Talk is more like the PS4 talk, if you know what I mean.
I'm over here just like, well, not really, but okay.
Please, enlighten
and
us.
we don't have Adam here with us today, if you guys haven't noticed.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest
Yeah.
in peace.
God have mercy.
He's
So,
dead now.
what do you think about the Xbone?
Well, everyone, when it was coming out, right? It was all just, oh, this thing is going to be horrible. It's going to be hot garbage. What on earth is Microsoft doing?
To play Netflix as well as it advertised.
Yes. I am completely excited for the new generation of Netflix streaming. And
love
the
Netflix.
future is here. But really, it's when I got it, it's like, you know that feeling you got when you got a new console when you were like a kid? It's like, I'm not there anymore, but it feels pretty cool. Like, maybe it's just because it looks like a big VCR, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big complaint. VCR, quantified VCR.
Yeah. But I like that they switched from green to white in a lot of the situations on their UI and color. And also, it runs games. Who'd have thought?
These days.
Yeah.
It's so
I've
unclear.
heard mixed things about like the user interface. How is that?
Well, it uses something that's, I think, really similar to Windows 8's Metro or whatever it's called.
Tiles, dude.
Tiles.
I'm all about tiles.
Tiles are pretty cool. I haven't used Windows 8, but
It's gotten mixed reviews.
yeah.
I'm sitting right here with my Windows
They're
8
actually
phone.
they're actually saying they're gonna probably switch the Windows 8 computers back to
Yeah, I
their
hear
desktop.
I heard they might go like straight into a Windows 9 or something, like full steam ahead, which is funny.
Slightly off topic, but people didn't like Windows 8 because it wasn't what they were used to. There's a button you can click that makes it what you're used to.
Exactly.
But I think their idea for Windows 8 works a lot better on tablets and touch stuff and the Xbox. Like the tiles and the way it works in that way, it looks pretty smooth. I haven't touched the PS4 interface. I heard like some mixed things about it.
Actually, I find it more easier to get around. It's different, but it's more user friendly.
Compared to the PS3, you mean?
Yeah, compared to the PS3.
I did like the PlayStation 3 interface, but it's just like when you had too many things in one category, it was just one giant block.
Yeah, like this PlayStation Store is very reorganized. I mean, how's the Xbox Live Store? Is it the same or is it reorganized?
It's pretty different in that it's a lot of pictures, and then it's like select what game you would like to look at, and then you go to like a mini store hub for it.
Right.
Like I clicked on Battlefield 4, and it was like, check out the add-ons, or you can buy the game, or you can look at premium or whatever for Battlefield 4. And I don't want that because I think Battlefield 4 is still hot garbage, as far as I know.
How do you feel about the Kinect features? I mean, that's something a lot of people talked about to good and bad effect.
Yeah, I tried the Kinect on the 360. Really bad.
Still sold well, though. I mean,
Still sold surprisingly well for such a horrible thing. But the one thing I really like about the Xbox One's Kinect is its consistency. Like, if I go into my room, sit down on my chair, and say Xbox on, it'll turn on. It actually, for some reason, it doesn't work on you, Henry.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't
Like,
understand my voice.
You'll just yell, and it's like, I can't understand it.
I can't understand your accent.
That's basically what everyone says to me, though. So whatever.
And the cool thing where it signs you in using your face if you
Right.
have the camera on as well is
Always like
also
those features.
really consistent. It's just like, hi, Alex. And I'm like, hi, Xbox. That's pretty cool
That's
of you.
cute. Yeah.
It's cute. We're
So-
a little closer to Minority Report,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
not close enough.
Predicting the future through Connect. I like it. So how are games
Yeah.
in
that's-
general?
Yeah.
Yeah, games. I got Rise, Son of Rome, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag, and something that comes with, I think, all Xbox Ones, if you have gold, is Killer Instinct, which is a fighting game. And I guess I'll start with Rise. Rise is it's a pretty cool hack and slasher. Maybe it's just because I really like history in the first place,
Right.
but I thought like the setting and the story was really like niche in that it fit the niche really well.
Cool.
How's the 720 graphics? Because people are complaining how Xbox was using 720 compared to the PS4's 1080.
Yeah, a lot of people complained, I think, about how they upscale to 1080p if they need it, and that it runs just naturally at 720. I honestly haven't really noticed that because I don't really look at
Graphics.
graphics that much. I don't look at side-by-side comparisons. There's a lot of those out there if you really want to nitpick, but from what I can tell, the difference isn't insignificant, but if you only really look at one, it's not that bad.
You're still looking at a superior a superior graphic.
It's still gorgeous compared to the 360 and the PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you go through Rome during one of the first levels, and it just looks amazing. It's so pristine, and like it's like really clear in the marble and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I actually watched some walkthrough for the first level.
Yeah,
And I loved how the characters looked. They looked very real.
yeah.
I was surprised because, like, 720, when you look at 720, I'm like, oh, it's going to be, like, okay, but it's not going to be that great. But I was surprised how great it actually looks.
Yeah.
I think,
All the characters look pretty good in it. The only problem is that a lot of the models for the enemies look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So when you're fighting like a huge group of dudes, just 4 barbarian men with the exact same beard and the exact same no shirt and tattoos just show up and they start screaming at you, and you just think, wow, couldn't they have gotten a couple more models? But I mean, the way they do it is that like each model has like a different way of fighting, so I guess they have to make it consistent.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely a game that, like, going on in the future, like for sequels, if they do make sequels, like the game has a ton of potential. You know.
I really hope they make a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
It sort of got like the launch game like to it. Like all launch games kind of start out sketchy, but at least it looked very impressive and felt pretty good to play.
Right. Right.
and let me think. Did you play the multiplayer on that?
I did. I played a little bit of the Gladiator stuff. It's just a co-op wave-based stuff, and
Is it anything special?
it's kind of fun. The only problem that I had with it was that it's got a lot of free-to-play hooks in it. Like if you want to continue leveling up your character's gladiator armor, you have to
Pay.
You can wait until you have enough quote-unquote valor, or you can just buy gold.
Yeah.
Which is really dumb if you just want to play the multiplayer.
That's going to be pretty common for the next generation. Free to play's not going anywhere.
I think, free-to-play hooks are really dumb, but I think they're probably here to stay. So thanks, mobile gaming.
Like mobile gaming,
Yeah.
yeah. Is there anything you want to say about Assassin's Creed? I mean,
Other than it's a really good game, probably not.
Oh, we have some people.
no.
Let them come in.
Oh,
Let them come in.
I don't know.
No.
Anyway,
No.
yeah.
I played it on the PS4. I absolutely love it. The game. I mean, as the game itself. I mean, that for next. How do you like it? Because-
Like the whole comparison between consoles aside, it's a really great game. I lost interest in Assassin's Creed since Revelations. I tried 3, wasn't very good, but 4 pulled me back in. I thought it was a really great story. I thought it was a really great setting and a really great way of turning around what Assassin's Creed 3 did wrong.
I found the sailing mechanics to be a lot nicer too. Because so I was like in a pissed off rage mood when I'm playing Assassin's Creed 3 and the sailing missions. You're like, son of a bitch.
But I mean, a lot of people said that was like their favorite part of the game.
Yeah, it was like because it had so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You could tell they would totally make a Pirates game way before they even announced it.
yeah. Like I could sail upon for hours. I could just sail around the ocean for hours, just pirating, looting ships and stuff. It was just it's absolutely a thing of itself.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I've seen it. It looks really good. I have not seen a PlayStation 4 yet. I'm not ready to make that entire comparison, but you know, it looks pretty solid overall, and I think Alex would agree with that.
Yeah, like that feeling you get when you fight a British man of war. It's just pretty cool.
Yeah. Did you play some Killer Instinct?
I did. I played a little bit of that. It's a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right.
All right. It's nothing special.
I think it's cool that it's a little bit of free to play, where you get a free character every different week.
Cool. All right. So another next gen game just came out. Well, an HD version already. We have an HD version for next gen, and that
Wave
is
of the future.
Yeah, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Well, in Henry's case, we have
The Game of the Year edition.
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah. Okay. So I got it on Friday, so I've only played approximately 4 hours, but you know, it's been a lot of fun. It's a very solid game. It looks really good. I'm playing on an Xbox 360, so you know, last gen graphics, and you know, I just feel that it's a very, very well made game. It's got good gameplay. It's not entirely an open world game, but it's really good because it feels open world. You know. And I really like that. And the game is so visceral. It's a visual experience. I mean, just in the first 5 minutes, Lara Croft almost drowns, almost gets a rock fall on her. If you mess up the QuickTime events, it actually does happen. And she gets impaled by a metal spike in like 5 minutes. It's a real experience. It's real bloody, and the survival aspect of the game is really good. And I haven't really gotten to the story as much as I wanted to at this point, so I can't really comment on that, but it's a very solid game. And I heard a lot of comparisons to Uncharted, but when I went to Just Plus Play and I bought the Tomb Raider game, and I was like, yeah, I can't wait to play Uncharted on the Xbox. He looked me dead in the eye with those, he had 4 chins and big beard, and he's like, but this game's better. Because not everyone at this place liked Uncharted, but everyone likes Tomb Raider, and I'm like, shit, this is real. This guy's real. I really like it, and I really want to play more of it. So.
Coming from a guy who loves Uncharted and he's super stoked for Uncharted 4, whenever that might come out,
yeah,
I feel that Tomb Raider is. People compare it to Tomb Raider to Uncharted. I feel that's unwarranted. It's nothing like Uncharted.
Right.
It doesn't have humor. It's very dark.
Yeah, I watched you play that. It's really brutal.
It's really dark.
This is like Tomb Raider we've never seen before.
Exactly. It doesn't feel like... I mean, I've played old Tomb Raider games, and it's nothing like that. It's completely different.
This is an M-rated Tomb Raider game.
Yeah, exactly.
Compared to the T-rated. I've been playing on the PS4, the Definitive Edition, and they have, compared to the 360, in the previous gen, we also have voice controls. And they've been very responsive.
That's neat.
Yeah, James has been annoying me when I'm playing the game because every time I'm playing Tomb Raider, you could switch through weapons by just saying the name of the weapon. And my roommate, he'll just be like, I'm in the middle of playing and I'm shooting a bow, and he'll be like, gun, and then it'll switch, and I'm like, shit.
It's a game that makes you feel the pressure and the stress of like killing. Really, it makes you feel when you actually like kill someone, you know, and that's not many games you become desensitized to violence so quickly. But this is a game where it never quite goes away, just because of the real dark feeling and the blood and the gore and just how gross it all is. It really makes you feel the killing.
But from what I saw, Lara Croft is really lucky that there's so much chest-high cover in that island.
Yeah,
yeah.
true.
Who'd have thought cover systems?
I also like the setting, the whole Yamatai Japanese setting.
That's pretty cool.
It's what brings the feel of the original Tomb Raider games, but it's also a brand new feel altogether.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that also. And seeing different from a lot of Tomb Raider games in which you travel around and you go to different worlds, different temples, different settings, you are only on this island for this game. And it's self-contained story on that island, and I think that's really cool, especially for this as a supposed origin story to the Tomb Raider experience. And I mean, I haven't played. I'm not quite halfway through the game yet, but I already know that I'm psyched for possible continuations of this series.
I played the game when it first released on previous gen consoles, back earlier 2013.
Right.
At first I was like, oh, this game is alright. It's not that great. But playing it again the second time, I'm really getting the feel for it and actually loving the game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you guys think that this new adaptation to a really brutal, really self-contained story is better than the old traditional globe-trotting, oh, I'm a sassy Tomb Raider,
I mean, I like to see
origins?
both, honestly, because this one, it's so realistic and so gritty, and I really like that. But once again, there's that kind of voice in the back of your mind saying that you're never going to see a temple like this. You're never going to experience a completely different contained storyline since everything's part of it. So I mean, there's that kind of aspect. So I mean, you kind of sacrifice some of that realism and grit for kind of the happy-go-lucky, oh, we're going to go find a treasure, So, I mean, yes and no would be my answer to that.
I feel like if it goes for that happy-go-lucky feel, though, it's going to be treading too much like Uncharted.
Exactly, and they want to stay away from that. They wanted to make a game like Uncharted, but then again, completely more serious and realistic. And I'm really enjoying the game. Do you want to give it a rating out of?
I give it 4 out of 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few instances where I feel like it was a little glitchy, but for the most part, it's a great, solid game.
Yeah, I mean, I give it 4 out of 5 because I rate things on a really hard leveling scale, even though that I haven't really found anything that's really been glaringly wrong with it. I really do like this game, and I recommend it. It kind of went unnoticed. When it first came out, it got really high reviews, 9.0s, 9.5s.
Didn't even get much love at the
Exactly.
Video Game Awards.
Yeah.
It got a lot of love at the E3 and stuff. But
if you love games, this is something we should do more often, where we compare the games. If you like Uncharted, but more on a more serious thing. If you like Assassin's Creed's climbing system. If you like survival type games, this is a game that you definitely want to check out.
Yeah, and I do feel like the comparative. If you have a next gen system, I recommend getting Tomb Raider for the next gen system. It doesn't matter if you played it on the previous gen; it's very worth playing on the next gen.
Yeah,
it
that's
brings
what I've heard.
it brings so much new to the table.
Yeah, I mean, and I just want to put one more thing, and then we can move on to our next topic. But I read an article, I forget where, about we're seeing the rise of the survival game, where we talked about, I think last time. 2 weeks ago, Don't Starve,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean you got Minecraft, and you got the other games where it's just the goal is surviving, and Tomb Raider falls in that category, and it's a lot of fun, frustrating, but rewarding.
We have a bunch of games that you really need to have survival skills to play. I mean, we have survival horror coming back with Evil Within that comes out later this year, but then we also have Dark Souls 2.
Exactly, a game where it's difficult to survive. So Alex is going to take this over.
Yeah. Now, well, to preface this, I picked up Dark Souls 1 about last October because I heard it was really good. And I watched some people play through it. I'm like, well, damn, this looks pretty good. So I might as well get it now because I heard Dark Souls 2 was coming out soon, so I wanted to see what it was like. And whew, that was a train ride through hell the entire game. Like I don't know what you guys think your hardest game you've played is, but I think Dark Souls was probably the hardest game I've ever played, like in natural difficulty.
Well,
Not a game where you turn it on to hardcore mode and it's like super annoying and just artificially hard.
well, you haven't played. I found Dark Souls to be easy compared to Demon Souls.
Oh,
Demon
You
Souls.
played Demon Souls, yeah.
Yeah, I played Demon Souls. It was incredibly hard, and it was a challenge in itself. It took me years to beat that game. It took me years, and a lot of patience too. I actually had to restart the game multiple times because, like, the more you die, the harder the game gets. So it's productive. So, like, the more you die, it's like, shit. Now I'm gonna have to start over.
Yeah,
So
it took me about 2 months to get through Dark Souls, just hardcore, just brute forcing my way through it, and I had a really fun time with it because it felt a lot like an old school RPG, but it wasn't really because it was much more about like the actions you did and not really about like choices, quote unquote.
Yeah. Do you want to give it a star review? I mean, that's kind of what we're doing now.
I would definitely give it a 5 stars out of 5 stars.
Cool.
And,
Highly recommended.
Highly recommend that game. If you really want to test yourself as a gamer, I feel like you should at least try something from the Souls series.
Yeah.
and I like the whole, like, they built their own, like, world. Like, they have their own lore to it.
It's such a strange and wonderful world that they
dense.
build.
It's very dense too, and surprisingly so.
Because apparently the director for the game really got his influences from reading English comics when he was a kid, but he couldn't understand English enough. So he would just look at the pictures of the comics and create his own story from that.
That's so cool.
So that's why all like the Soul stuff is so like piecemeal in its story building.
Right.
You just need to like craft your own story out of it. There's so much speculation to it. It's really amazing.
That's really cool.
And it also has like, if you catch some of the references, there's like some Chrono Trigger and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they get a lot of like basis off like the really hard classic games. I mean, Chrono Trigger is possibly the hardest game I've ever played. I'm saying that very nonchalant because for a classic game like Chrono Trigger, it's a game you just want to throw across through.
There was Nintendo Hard for a reason back when there was the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Super NES.
Mm-hmm.
Which...
So do you have any speculation or excitement over Dark Souls 2 coming out later this year?
Well, I've already pre-ordered it on Amazon, so hopefully when it comes out in March, same day as Titanfall, I made that hard choice, I guess, to pick the 360 version of Dark Souls instead of an Xbox One version of Titanfall. And I heard everything I've heard about Dark Souls 2 seems pretty good. You said about Demon Souls that it gets harder the more you die. If I remember correctly, you get half health the first time you die. Apparently in Dark Souls 2, every subsequent death, your maximum health decreases.
Yeah, I like... One thing that's getting me pumped about Dark Souls 2 is that they're kind of bringing back this old system of it actually being difficult. As I found, Dark Souls was actually... not that hard.
It's not that hard, but it's just a test.
It's a test, but compared to Demon Souls, though, it's like... I just, like, that wasn't really even worth my money.
There are so many just internet memes about how hard Dark Souls are.
I think the internet...
Well, no, it's more Demon Souls memes than Dark Souls.
No, there's more Dark Souls stuff, I guarantee you.
I think the internet has overexpressed how hard Dark Souls is, but it's still a hard game. Like, at its core.
I think they exaggerated compared to Demon Souls. Because if a lot of these people that have played it, only played it because Dark Souls but haven't played Demon Souls because, well, they have an Xbox 360, and that actually sold better than the PS3 last gen, and it was also on both consoles, so there's more wider base. of people that are playing Dark Souls
Yeah.
compared to Demon Souls, and I think if those people were able to play Demon Souls, I think they would say, "Wow, the first game is a lot more difficult." But I'm very excited that they're bringing back the hard difficulty. If I'm not mistaken, they're bringing back the online component too, right?
Yeah, in Dark Souls, you could only be invaded in PvP through an optional thing. But in Dark Souls 2, you can be invaded for PvP at any time, no matter what, as long as you have an internet connection, which is going to probably be frightening. Because from my PvP experience in Dark Souls 1, there was a lot of people that were
Playing dick moves.
yeah, they made some real dick moves, and they were like level 1 but had gear for a level 100 character. And they've said that they're going to try and balance it a little better, like in ways of matchmaking, so if you start out the game you don't get crushed by a guy that's been playing for 200 hours. But there might still be problems like that. I'm just hoping personally, like, with the release of Dark Souls 2, that you're going to have a bunch of people coming in that have no idea what they're doing. And that's, like, the real cool thing about Dark Souls, the Souls series, I suppose. Because if you play through Demon Souls and Dark Souls now, you get all that information that everyone has found through the years that it's been released. But Dark Souls 2, it's a fresh start again.
Yeah, I find also that the whole Dark Souls felt like they also a bunch of people leave messages. They're like, oh, it's safe down here. It's safe, and then you listen to them and you're like, you feel like an idiot afterwards.
Yeah,
You're
put a jump here or try jumping message along a immediate death cliff,
or like there was this one place in Demon Souls where it was like, oh, it's safe down this way. This is the way you must go. I listened to it being naive, and there's like 4 big ass dragons right there. I'm like, shit. I get all toasted. I get burned
This is
to
your definition of safe.
I remember a sign put down by a really hard boss fight in Dark Souls, Ornstein and Smo, where the sign was imminent tears. And once I fought that boss once and died, I was like, yeah, imminent tears indeed.
And they could be very vague like that.
Let's talk about a game that really does bring tear to the eye. Let's take it to James Clear with Octodad.
Yeah, most of this has been talk about consoles, which I'm one of those PC gamer guys. So I mentioned Octodad Dadliest Catch last time, and it did come out, and I played it. So I figured I'd talk about that just briefly. It
was bad.
No. It was actually good. I really liked it. It's kind of, the idea, as I explained to someone, is kind of like QWOP meets The Sims.
Which is bad.
No, you haven't played it, Zach. Shut up.
Zach never played The Sims?
No, he hasn't played Octodad. But you go through and you have to do average tasks, and you're a father of otherwise normal family, except you're an octopus, and you can't let them discover that you're an octopus. So you have to go and you have to like take care of your son, or you have to like mow the lawn or make coffee, and you control each limb of your Octodad character to do this. And this one added a much more in-depth storyline than the last one. You actually find out like how he met his wife and why the sushi chef has this lifelong vendetta against him. They never fully explain though why or how he has kids. They purposely leave that open for speculation.
That might be for the best.
Yeah.
I think Octodad Origins doesn't need that origin.
When mommy loves an octopus very much.
Some bad things happen.
Bestiality right there.
I played a little bit of the original one, the free one, and I thought it was like a really entertaining concept of like a puzzle game where it's just menial tasks, but the hardness of it is that you are an octopus. And also it's just got that really funny humor to it where it's like, hey, no one suspects that you're an octopus except for one guy.
Do you think like the developer of that game was like watching TV and all that stuff a couple years ago? What Octomom had all those children, and he's just like Octomom.
You know,
What
I
about
read
Octodad.
I read it was actually inspired by this one game, it was Jurassic Park something, or like Trespass, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Which was another game that was just like god awful, full of glitches, and they're just like, what if we made a game where the purpose of the game was to have those glitches?
Wow.
Where you just end up doing stupid things.
That's
that
funny.
happens in the game. Like, you'll go to grab something, and you end up grabbing something entirely different, and just end up flinging it across the room. And what they actually added in this game was you could kick people in the head or, like, punch them, and it will give away suspicion.
That's funny. So like a
So-
suspicion meter.
Yeah, it's your suspicion.
You're not one of the dads.
Your suspicion meter is your ink. You'll just gain more ink. And in this game, you go to an aquarium, and they have marine biologists.
Oh wow.
Marine biologists know an octopus when they see one. So you have to avoid being
As opposed to normal people who don't.
Yeah.
That guy looks kind of like an octopus, but I don't know that much about the field.
So how many stars would you give Octodad, the dadliest catch?
I give it 4 out of 5. There are some points in the game where it just kind of glitched, or where I had to like look up how to get through it, and it was just like, oh, that's
Some
how you do
indie
it.
game jank.
Yeah.
Indie
Yeah.
game jank.
I mean, it's an indie game, so I'm not going to be as like hard on it as
Right, yeah.
some other people, but it's just fun to play. Like, you just go through and you're just like, what am I doing?
That's funny, man.
So yeah, I'd say 4 out of 5, just because solid.
Nice, dude.
So, how about Nintendo people?
What
Right,
Nintendo
yeah.
people? I just hear crickets.
Who are they? I've never heard of that company before.
I feel like they're going to be irrelevant soon. I mean, the numbers have just come out lately that
They
the Wii. I mean, it's no surprise the Wii U's a disappointment.
they changed their estimated numbers for
About
sales.
70%.
It was, I think, from like 9 million sales to 2.
Yeah, that was
Which
like
is
75%.
Pretty bad.
And the
Yeah.
news. What was the news this week exactly? That they're open to acquisition and merger.
I did hear a rumor about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The president cut his pay in half, which is no surprise. He's done it before. He did it for the 3DS, but now that's become successful.
I actually like
because
the
when that
3DS.
first came out, or if you remember correctly, the 3DS was such a disappointment when it first came out. People were like, "It's never going to do good," and now here we are. It was last year's best-selling console.
And then Pokemon X came out.
Yeah, I mean,
Pokemon XY.
3DS was last year's best-selling console.
But I mean, I'm not so certain that's going to happen with the Wii U. I mean, like, I don't.
Maybe with the new Smash Bros. Game.
Maybe, but at the same
They
time,
don't-
like, I had not met. I don't know about you guys, but I've not met a single person who owns a Wii U. I've seen them in the
I know
store.
one person.
You know one person, like, and I know. I mean, 2 of you guys have next gen consoles already, and we're not that far into that. They were like 3 months in. You already have that, and the Wii U's been out for like a year and a half.
Yeah, they had the head start.
Yeah, but it wasn't really a head start.
Yeah.
And I think it's due to a number of very specific problems with their marketing, and I think it's also part of the idea that the Wii was so targeted at the casual gamer, and everyone knew this, and they didn't care. They were making money, screw over the core and hardcore gamers for the most part. Let's just make the Wii for the casual gamers. I mean, there were good games on that. Mario Galaxy is a great game. Skyward Sword, great game, but most of all, like, not really any of the hardcore gamers.
See, I think the problem with Nintendo consoles as of late is that they just can't really get anyone from third-party developers to give their consoles a chance anymore.
Exactly. And that worked for them on the Wii. They didn't have to care because they were still making money because people were buying the Wii for Wii Sports, and they made huge sale numbers. But they underestimated how the casual market worked, because the hardcore market, like, we'll upgrade. We'll buy the new console eventually. We'll buy a new console for a new game, but the casual market doesn't do that. The casual market is snail.
And when they see a new Wii U, they're like, I don't need a Wii U, I already have a Wii. You know, kind of like dumb stuff like that. Like,
Yeah. There are still people that think the Wii U is just an additional controller to their Wii.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem marketing-wise.
especially because that's their market, is the
That's the-
casual market who doesn't pay attention.
I feel I've said this numerous times over the last few weeks. I feel Nintendo's going to go the way of Sega.
Yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah,
It's,
I mean,
it's not a hard thing to see anymore.
Yeah,
I think they could. They make really great games,
right.
and Nintendo should stick with that.
And their
think-
handheld market is unmatched.
And I think that they could stick with. I think they can stick with handheld market, and I think they could stick with games. But I think they should give up on like homemade
Console development.
Yeah,
Let's
home
be
console
honest, though,
development.
Mario will never die.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
But at the same time, like that leaves just a giant question. Like,
Yeah.
what console are they going to develop for? Like, are they going to move into PC, which is something Nintendo hasn't messed with in a long time? Like, I can't see that. Like, Nintendo's been such kind of like a castle idea where it's just like we build the games for
What
our
if
system.
Valve buys Nintendo?
All bets are off.
yeah,
God.
yeah. If
Anarchy in the streets.
without, if I feel, I don't know. I mean, they have such a great history, but when you look at it, so did Sega, and
But what was really good about Sega, really?
Sonic.
Sonic.
And now Nintendo owns Sonic.
Yeah. I mean,
I am a hardcore Sonic fan to this day.
Nintendo props up their console market with their own first-party games in the first place, which I think is just setting themselves up for failure, really. Because if you can only think of Sonic on Sega consoles, and you can only think of Mario on Nintendo consoles, then why is there a point to the game?
That's what has Microsoft and Sony succeeding. They're able to open up to more markets. I feel like they don't base their whole consoles off of their first party titles. They also throw out other
Microsoft first party.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely buy a PS4 or an Xbox One for the eventual exclusives.
Yeah.
You could say, "Oh, I'm buying an Xbox One for Halo 5 or Halo for the Xbox One."
Yeah.
But that means you can still get other games. for
Exactly.
it.
And honestly, a lot of those cross-platform games have been my favorite. I mean, I liked Halo and stuff, but games like Mass Effect, which eventually opened up. I mean, like BioShock, which eventually opened up. You know, like games that were cross-platform.
That went from I like to point this out, from Microsoft to Sony.
Well, it's not like they moved. They
I mean, I know, but
expanded.
still, I just
Yeah,
people-
Microsoft just pays for exclusives in a time range, really.
And looking back at Sonic, I feel that Sonic really started to go downhill once Nintendo decided to bought them. Maybe a little before, maybe afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm not too.
It's kind
know
of
its
frustrating.
timeline.
Man.
But if
Sonic has been careening into the ground.
yeah, but that's because they
since the
tried
last
to
decade.
like reboot them and revamp it. And like, if someone tries to do that, for
well,
Mario,
the biggest problem
or
with
stuff-
Sonic was that they were like, they saw Mario and they're like, let's make Sonic Mario. And that was the biggest mistake because what was Sonic in the beginning? Sonic was a 2D pinball adventure game. And it was like, wow, that's fun and cool. And then they made it not that.
and then they
Yeah.
tried bringing back that style with Sonic the Hedgehog Episode 4 Part 1, and you're like, this isn't no.
the physics
And-
were broken in that game.
And
from what I read.
really, who's buying a Sonic game for the story?
No.
Okay, aside from the minority James vote here,
Yeah.
Sonic, I'm not excited by a gripping story about a blue hedgehog wearing sneakers.
Let's get the people who made Tomb Raider to remake Sonic, where he gets beat up, like
They
gets
tried
impaled.
to do that with Shout the Hedgehog. We're like, you know that character that everyone loves. Let's give him some guns. Like, could you imagine if they did that to Mario?
Sonic is abducted by terrorists.
Make
Yeah.
it in the style of Mario, in the style of House of the Dead.
Speaking about House of the Dead, man, when are they going to make Luigi's Mansion 2?
They did, man.
They
it was
did?
for the 3DS
Really?
And the Wii
Yeah.
U.
Wow.
and the Wii U.
I'm
Yeah,
sad
it came out on the Wii U.
I didn't know that.
R.I.P.
Luigi.
Wii U.
The year of Luigi has killed the
Ironically,
Nintendo Wii
Nintendo's
U.
worst year.
Yeah, the Wii U went from Mario. The Wii U shifted the focus from Mario to Luigi.
Way to go,
had a-
Nintendo, picking the worst character to focus on.
And now
I
they're
love
now
Luigi.
they're bringing in Donkey Kong.
Well, okay,
the
Donkey Kong
country-
needs to make a. There hasn't been.
Bringing in the
this
artillery.
this next game,
Yeah.
this new Donkey Kong game actually looks pretty fun. It's called Tropical Freeze, and it's a co-op though.
Is it supposed to be like country?
Is it
Yeah,
country?
it's in the style of like a 2D, but also that 3D feel to it. So
Right.
it's like on the step. Yeah,
I wish they would just make another Donkey Kong game like Donkey Kong 64. Like that's what I was
Yeah.
about. That
That'd be
game was
entertaining.
great.
they need to make another Mario game in the style of Mario 64.
No.
Mario Galaxy and Mario Sunshine are both that.
Galaxy and
I can
Sunshine.
see another
Well, I
Still
mean,
sounds
I think if they make something like that for the Wii U, I think the Wii U sales might boost a little.
Yeah, it's just there's just nothing there, and they come up with such creative technology, and then like they don't do anything. with
Did
it.
you see this meme online where they were like, we need to come up with an idea to boost sales for the Wii U, and then they had the president of Nintendo thinking Pokemon Wii U,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it took out the letters and it said Pikmin 3, and his and the president's assistant is like, I hate you, I quit.
Can we talk about the existential crisis that is Pokemon Bank?
No,
No, no.
straight up, just no. I don't want to talk about that.
I played Soul Silver a while back. If you want to talk about that, it's the same game as the one that came out.
In 1999.
I'm still
It's
praying,
still good.
I'm still praying for a Hoenn remake. Like, I want to believe.
And plus, I think if they bring Pokemon to the Wii U and not just their handheld, they could boost sales.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're hoping for that with the 3DS Smash Brothers
Yeah.
releasing at the same time as the Wii U one.
Yeah.
I think you'll probably see a spike in sales when Smash Brothers comes out, but I don't know what else is going to keep the Wii U up.
Maybe Donkey Kong a little bit. I mean, a lot of people are excited for that, but I don't think it's going to be
Okay, on the GameCube there was this one game that I remember playing. It was a Nintendo original game. It was a shooter, and I think it was called Spectre. And the game wasn't that good at all, but like it was so creative. It was like
Was that the one where you played as a ghost?
You did. You played as a ghost, and it was
yeah.
like a commando. And that game was just like was an example of a game that wasn't that good, but like it was so incredibly creative because you could like possess people and like possess turrets, and like it was a puzzle shooter, kind of like Half-Life. And I just kind of miss when Nintendo would take like leaps of faith,
Take risks.
like that, like make a game like that, because a game like that updated today, like it doesn't have to be that game exactly, but where they actually tried to make something interesting, and shooters are always kind of playing to more of a core market, like that could do really well, especially if it was really good. But instead, they just keep on developing for the casuals.
So like I said,
And
Mario
they bring
with
out the
guns.
occasional
Yeah.
Resident Evil game. I mean, why don't they bring back Resident Evil to Nintendo? I mean, one of the biggest reasons people...
That's because Resident Evil isn't good anymore.
Well, make it like how they did with the Wii games.
Isn't Resident Evil 4 coming out for the Wii U, or is that the PC?
The PC.
Wii U
Unfortunately.
has Zombie U, which I
Yeah.
thought was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
If they can do games like that, they can broaden their market, and if they need to do more.
Yeah.
I feel, just think if they brought like Daisy to the Wii U.
I love Daisy. She's my favorite Mario character.
She's the best golfer in Toadstool
But I mean,
Tour.
Here's something. Here's something.
D-A-Y-Z.
Jay-Z.
Let's talk about Jay-Z
Jay-Z.
for a second.
Daisy would be great on the other consoles too. So I
Yeah.
mean, like, I don't feel like there's an advantage to putting on the Wii U that I wouldn't want it to be on the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 with a jacked graphics.
It's not that.
And
It's
voice
just
commands.
I feel like though if they could bring in games like that though. I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
Nintendo can save themselves a lot of heartache.
Uh-huh.
And when the interviews with the president and their president for marketing are interviewed, I'm like, you guys are so blind to the fact that you guys are dying out and
Yeah.
becoming irrelevant.
Yeah, who knows? I just don't know what the future is for that company. And they're not bankrupt yet because they've
have-
done so much good.
They have a massive war chest from all of their years of success that will keep them alive for a good amount of time.
Exactly. So, I mean, at best, we might see a Wii U turnaround. We might just see it fade into the background. But
Maybe we'll see a
I
new
would not be
console
surprised
together.
if they might even just move on to another console within 3 years.
The Wii U isn't going to tank Nintendo yet.
I'm gonna call it right now. They're gonna make another console.
Yeah,
very soon.
and that's going to make or break Nintendo. It's going to be the Wii. It's going to be the Wii situation all over again.
I guess
where
they can do
the
something.
GameCube was kind of a lukewarm release. Had great games, but no one would put GameCube ahead of the PlayStation 2.
One last thing before I want to move on to our next topic is that there's this whole thing with Oculus Rift and everything. I feel like if Nintendo can embrace something like that as well, they can revolutionize, because nobody like Sony and Microsoft aren't willing to open up with that market yet.
The problem about VR is that it's still in the States where it's not advanced enough, or it doesn't have enough of a gap between its lag to be
True.
successful on big screens. You'll still see tons of pixels in your screen because it's such a little box on your eyes, and also it looks kind of dumb because it's goggles basically.
Yeah. But now there's some sad news. Philip Seymour Hoffman, may he rest in peace, is found dead yesterday.
I'm really broken up about that. He's probably one of my favorite actors currently.
And actually, a couple of weeks ago, I said I would have casted him as the Penguin.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You picked him.
Yeah,
It's really tragic.
Yeah, especially since he was only 46 years old.
And they had 7 more days left of filming for the new Hunger Games movie.
Mockingjay.
I remember
Yeah.
sitting in the theater for when I went to go see Catching Fire. I think I mentioned that a couple times ago.
I saw Catching Fire as well.
And I was like,
still have to see
I didn't know that
Don't.
he was in that film, right? I didn't know he was in Catching Fire as Plutarch Havensby. But when he came on the screen, and I was like, I got really excited because I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was such a weird, quirky character actor. And I remember thinking in my head, I'm the target. I'm the older target audience for this, for putting him in there.
Yeah.
Because you have all these new, and I like most of the younger actors in that film, but I got excited to see him on. They got him for this, and then it really sucks, man.
It was really entertaining. Well, there wasn't much to entertain about that movie, but
No, I liked it a lot. So
There's a scene.
we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're not talking about Catching Fire.
And then I actually saw him on Broadway back in 2012.
Really?
I saw him in a play version of Death of a Salesman.
Right, that's
And
awesome.
he played,
That's good.
and Andrew Garfield played his son.
That's
the
such
son.
a cool.
Yeah,
that's
so-
a cool matchup.
Yeah, so he was really great, and
right.
just seeing him,
Yeah,
being able to see him that clip.
Really,
I was front row too, so I was able to.
It's just the thing that made Philip Seymour Hoffman so good was he was able to hold weight. As a legitimate movie actor, where he's not he's not a good looking man. He's an ugly guy. He's a bigger guy. He's got an ugly face and all this stuff, but just his pure skill. You see this guy on the screen, on the stage, and you take him seriously. He's not an actor who would ever rely on his looks. He's an actor that was always pure skill.
Yeah, when you see him, you're in for a treat, for a performance.
Yeah,
a really great
exactly.
performance.
And I mean, so he's been in some of the most creative, interesting movies I've seen in modern days. I mean, yeah, Capote, Synecdoche, New York.
The
if you've never seen that one.
Master.
The Master, great performance. Magnolia, Boogie Nights.
the niche
Doubt.
performance in Big Lebowski.
Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Exactly. He played such a small role in that, but he had such a
he was
character.
there for that.
Exactly. And that's what makes him good. He was somebody that you really like to see just kind of thrown into a movie and to see what he does with it. And I don't think I've ever seen him in a bad performance. And I just think it's really tragic that he's not going to be
Every
around.
movie he's been in, people are like, "Oh, it was so great," but even if the movie itself was awful,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, "He was the one good thing about that movie."
Yeah, really depressing that just after, I guess, 23-year battle with relapse,
Right.
that he just
OD'd.
OD'd.
Well, that's what happens a lot of times. That's happened with Whitney Houston recently. It's just they take drugs, they become addicted, addicts, and then they they get off it, right, for a while. And what happens is you come back to it thinking you can do the same amount, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens again and again is like these people, they come back and they're like, I'm going to take this dose like the last time I did it, but they have no tolerance. So they do this huge dose, and that's how people OD.
And plus the fact that it was so long ago and that he's gotten older.
Yeah,
His body, like his body's taking a toll.
Really unfortunate that his story was ended by his fight with Vices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at least he was honored for best actor a couple years ago.
Unfortunately, he was also mixed in with Super Bowl Sunday. I feel like as soon as like the news plate is pretty minuscule compared to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't stop thinking about it when watching the Super Bowl yesterday. Just like in comparison.
Well, the Super Bowl was a murder of its own, if you could say so.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
We'll get into that later.
But I just want to say, like, I was reading, I've been reading a whole bunch of articles about this yesterday, and like he has a number of films that are going to be coming out too. Like at least 4 films that aren't the Hunger Games that he's in or he plays a character, and it's just going to be interesting. Like all these movies coming out with like him in it. Like kind of has his swan song, and it's just going to be like really interesting to see his final performance.
And the last Hunger Games is on hold currently, filming wise.
They're going to release it on time.
No, they're going to release it on time.
No, I thought it was being released in 2 parts.
They were.
They are. Yeah. They're still doing the 2 parts, but that was always been the plan.
Yeah,
but he still had things to shoot, if I recall.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
But they're just going to write it. They had like 7 days of shooting. They said they're going to be able to write it. The way it was filmed, they're going to be able to write it.
I don't really take much stock into the Hunger Games story, but that's just still unfortunate where you have an actor that prematurely dies before his story can really finish.
Like Keith Ledger in The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, he never finished. I mean, that did work out to its advantage.
Really, I thought it was really confusing having a different actor just show up.
It worked, though, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
To each his own.
They'll figure it out. So, yeah, I mean...
Plus Paul Walker. I mean, he died, and they weren't even finished with Fast and Furious.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should move on to something lighter.
Yeah,
definitely.
And we're gonna be talking about the Lego Movie now.
What could be lighter?
What could be lighter than a Lego movie?
What's a good way of boosting up spirit? Talking about our childhood.
Legos!
I love Legos.
I have too many hours invested in Legos.
Same.
In my life.
And Lego products.
And every time somebody angered me when I was a kid, I'd be like, I hope you step on a Lego.
I still hurt.
Okay.
But I was big on Bionicles growing up, so I hope they have like a reference to that, because it was this Lego's own action figure thing.
I mean, this movie is going to be the greatest ode to the Lego franchise ever. I mean, from what I've seen of the trailers, they're just throwing in a whole bunch of like little things that you notice from Legos. Like 2 that stuck out to me was the fact, and you guys probably noticed
Lego
this too.
sets.
The idea that there are a lot of real Lego sets, but like the idea that it's like stop motion, like all the little videos online. I just think that's so like smart and funny, and also. They kind of showed like this little like happy character, like the 2D one, which is the smile, and you see him in the posters, and he's an astronaut, but the bottom of his helmet is broken.
Yeah,
because every single person who ever had that Lego helmet, the bottom broke off of it, and it's just like I can't wait to see this movie to just see all these little details and all these little nods they put into it.
I really hope that it sheds off like the complete idea that it's a children's movie only, because I think that the point of Legos is that it's a toy that transcends age,
right,
to its own. Really, like there are sets for people that are like 5 years and younger, but there's also stuff like the Star Wars stuff and the Lord of the Rings stuff.
And I mean, even now they have those architecture sets, which are like that's like something
Lego robots.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like
you could see on like anyone's desk.
Like I've been to the Lego store in Times Square. They have like human-sized models of like Transformers and movie characters and stuff like other movie
that's
characters.
really cool.
You have to see the Mall of America Lego store. They have like giant Lego robots.
Well, the Source, which is in Denmark, is where it's really at.
Have you been there?
I have. I've been to Legoland there, and I've seen the true origins of Lego.
Yeah.
The gritty origins.
Interesting thing about Lego is that in Latin it means to put together, but at the same time in I believe it's like Dutch,
Danish,
Danish. It means let's play.
Yeah, it's
funny how that
weird.
works out.
Yeah, it's like really it's really creative name, and I just can't like
I have really high expectations for this movie to be kind of like a fun, carefree, funny movie. I just hope that they don't play too much to normally what makes children's comedies bad, which are just making too many references. And I mean, you have there's all this stuff about Batman and like Wonder Woman's in it, and I just hope they do that all tastefully.
They had they just released a new TV spot. They had Superman and Green Lantern. Superman's caught in a piece of gum, and like Green Lantern's like, "I'll come and save you," and he's like, "My hand's stuck." And then it gets his leg stuck, like he gets lifted in the air and his legs get stuck. He's like, my leg's stuck, and they use that like that whole bending thing. Like, so they have him like you see how he bends like regular Legos do. Mm-hmm. So you're like they're really going to use the physics.
Yeah.
But I do want to say is when I first heard this movie's being made, I was highly, highly skeptical.
Yeah.
I was like, especially at the same time when this is the same time when Battleship movie came out. I'm like, how can they make a movie off of Legos? I mean, they just fucked up Battleship.
But I mean, like, this is a completely different beast. You understand?
Yeah. I know.
They're really playing to the source. I feel
it's
like
Lego. It's actually Legos. Like Battleship had nothing to do with the board game.
Well, yeah. But then when the first trailer was released, I was like, okay, I'm really excited for it.
In one of the trailers for that movie, I heard the guy say E5.
E5?
Like for Battleship.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know they're completely different beasts, but I mean, when I watched Frozen over the winter break, I felt really confident at the idea of like a children's movie that can actually like speak to like other age groups. So
right, yeah.
I know they're not. I know Lego Movie isn't being made by Disney, but I'm confident, or not confident. I'm very optimistic to see what the Lego Movie has.
I mean, that's what Pixar has really been good at in recent days. I mean, with the exception of Cars 2, and Planes, like they've been pretty consistent with the idea that they're going to play to an older and younger audience. And sometimes you even have to wonder watching the Pixar films is like, are they making movies for children anymore? Or are these like adult films? I mean, they're still like obviously children themed, but also it's just like wow, these are very adult themes.
If I remember correctly, I think Frozen was part of the initiative that was part of the Disney storybook initiative to make them 3D, sort of like a rebirth of the old Snow White and Sleeping Beauty and Beauty and the Beast stories, but in 3D graphics a la Pixar.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same thing with Tangled, I guess.
Yeah, Tangled and Brave, and I saw all three of those, and they're really good.
Brave was an actual Pixar film.
It was?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I have yet to see Brave, actually, unfortunately.
I've heard some mixed things about it.
I think of the three new movies that they made, I would top Frozen at first, and then Tangled and Brave third, but it's pretty close.
But I think Frozen, though, too, this wasn't even on our agenda, but I feel Frozen, they just released, it's gotten so huge, they just released a sing-along version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you now could go see it and sing along.
That's funny.
They also have, it's already been confirmed now for a Broadway show, which is no surprise because the movie itself is all very Broadway-like.
It's all very, very open to Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, like...
opening scene itself.
You know, without seeing Frozen, I just know it's like people are not going to stop talking about it. It's like a classic.
It's a cute movie.
If it doesn't win Best Animated Feature Film, I am going to be super surprised.
But Monsters University got snubbed.
It did. It did.
Because Monsters University hit me right in the feels, dude.
I was like, the Croods?
I wanted to see that.
Really? The Croods?
Yeah, dude.
Really?
Fuck the Croods, dude.
Why would the Croods ever win that?
I had no faith in that movie whatsoever.
I mean,
I
I'm
watched that
pretty
the
sure
other day,
Frozen
too.
is going to win that. But
I'm fairly sure they probably just snubbed Monsters University just so they wouldn't have two from the same
but I mean,
the same company.
Pixar.
But
so
they
back
used to
to
be different
Lego.
things.
They used to.
Back to Lego. If you've ever played the games or read some of their comics, Lego actually has a very distinct sense of humor across everything they do. So I look forward to seeing that in the movie.
Definitely.
And Morgan Freeman is a godlike Lego figure.
Is he like the hippie one?
Yeah, he's the one with
And
the white
Liam
beard.
Neeson is a weird two-faced policeman.
Did anyone here ever play the Lego Island game
I did.
for
Oh my
computers?
I just love
Yes.
those little
So, I feel
pizzas.
Has anyone ever come back to it now and looked at its absolutely absurd, surrealist humor?
No.
No.
I should do that.
Right up the-
Throwback Monday.
I think you should. Anyone watching this, everyone here, I think should look at videos of it because it's just absurd things where everyone sounds like they're all on cocaine, and it's absurd.
That's like when we watched Rugrats a couple months ago, and like the dialogue in Rugrats, there's no spacing in between it. So she's like, "Stu, you got to take the babies out." He's like, "Okay, all right, let's go." And the baby's like, like, and it's just like, dude, this is like I'm high.
I don't know.
Our childhood is what we're talking about.
Our childhood was on.
Speaking of our childhood,
Explains
they
it.
just released a trailer last night at the Super Bowl. This is actually going to be our next topic, anyways. Super Bowl trailers, but they released the Transformers Extinction trailer. One word, Dinobots.
Nope.
Is that 2 words? Is that hyphenated?
It's hyphenated, so it's one word.
Okay.
We'll put 1.5.
I have lost all faith in the idea of a Michael Bay picture. Really,
I'll say this. I saw the trailer. Cool Dinobots, awful trailer, in my opinion.
Optimus
You got to
Prime
see the
riding-
Mark Wahlberg face where it's like, ugh.
but Optimus Prime with a sword and riding Grimlock as like his mighty steed.
See, I have no faith in this movie, but just because you have giant robots riding giant robot dinosaurs, I mean, how could you not geek out about that concept?
I wonder how they're gonna write off Shia LaBeouf. Like,
All I know
Optimus
is,
Prime is like, I'm not your friend anymore.
I accidentally stepped on him one
or
day.
what if Bumblebee stepped on him or something?
That would be fun.
accidentally crushed him while he was driving.
R.I.P. Sam Witwicky.
Transformed.
Or they're just gonna write him off. They're just gonna write him off
like.
like Megan Fox.
Yeah, I don't know.
They should just killed off Megan Fox. That would have been
I would have been happy.
gratifying.
I don't know. It just, I wasn't. The trailer wasn't doing it. It was an eye rolling moment for me. The people I was with, Aaron Dick, they were like so excited,
I was excited. I'm one of
but I
those
couldn't.
people.
I was just like, ever since Transformers 2, there's just been a cancer.
Dark of the Moon was better than Revenge of the Fallen.
As much as
It wasn't great.
I still don't want to see this movie. I still found myself being like, yes, once the trailer, and I'm like, why did I just do that?
I'll tell you a weird looking trailer though. Noah.
That's gonna be a great movie though.
That looks so weird, man.
Who's playing Noah again?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
But here's the thing.
Really?
The guy that made Noah made Black Swan, so it comes to no surprise that it's going to be
okay.
bizarre.
But it looks so weird, man.
I mean,
There's like
he's
it looks
made-
like an action film. It looks like, I don't know.
Action
he's,
Noah.
He's made, and this director's known for making weird movies. I mean, he's made Requiem for a Dream. He's made Life of Pi. He's made.
Which I've liked all these
He
films.
made Black Swan. I mean,
I just don't. It's just such a weird idea. Like, I don't really know what to expect.
Yeah,
I mean, we all know what happens.
The trailer looks exciting. I hope they put in the part of the Bible. A lot of people don't know this because no one actually reads the Bible. But there's this part where they land on Mount Ararat at the end of the flood, and Noah's like, "Well, fuck this," and he goes and gets drunk in his tent, and his sons walk in, and Noah's just in there smashed, and he's naked, and he's just like, "I'm gonna punish you for walking in on me," and he curses one of his sons forever. I hope that's in the film. It's just like you have this nice Sunday school version of Noah where he's like 2 of each animal, and then it's just like Noah the drunk who banishes his son. He's also like 900 years old. Bible's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Greatest choose your own adventure book of all time because you start the first page and you're like, well, let's skip to the end.
the New Testament.
it's gonna. I want to see Noah. Let's see. We also saw a trailer for Need for Speed.
You know, Need for Speed, every time I see it, I kind of get excited, but then I think to myself that this movie looks too much like Drive.
You know what I want to see?
And it's
though?
not going to be Drive, and that's bad.
You know what I want to see? I want to see Aaron Paul go, "Yeah, bitch,"
That would be. I think that would be too much of a low-hanging fruit for that.
But
He'll probably say "bitch" once in the movie, and everyone will be all like, "Oh my god, it's a Breaking Bad reference," and it's really not. He's probably just going to say "bitch."
Everyone around me, when I saw that trailer, thought it was like a Breaking Bad movie or something.
Yeah.
Just imagine if they made Breaking Bad into a movie.
It might.
No, he's dead.
I'm not going to
Can't do
discount
anything.
it. I don't know how it's going to be, really. I mean,
think-
we talked about it before.
Aaron Paul is definitely a good actor. I
Yeah.
don't really know if the Need for Speed franchise is the best bet for him, but it
Yeah.
might be good.
Needless to say, I'm not much for racing movies, but visually, this movie looks beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it might have some promise.
It has a feel of it has a mix between a samurai film mixed with a racing.
Yeah, transport.
So like mixing samurai and racing. I think like that's the message the trailers are conveying.
What else did we see last night? There's at least one more.
I like
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
and Captain America.
Captain America trailer looked jacked.
I did hear the Winter Soldier one was very good.
Very
It was.
cool. Very
Did you watch the extended cut version
No, I
online?
didn't.
Oh,
They
shit.
released a 2.5 minute version of the trailer, and it was pretty awesome.
That's neat.
I'm
You
still
see a lot
dis-
more of the Winter Soldier. You actually see them making the Winter Soldier in the trailer.
I'm still disappointed that it takes place in modern day and
I
not
talked
in the
about that
Cold War
before.
era. Okay, well,
Yeah.
sorry, but
yeah,
that's
you
my
can do it.
opinion as
Yeah,
well.
I thought that too.
But
But
Robert Redford being the villain.
wow,
Robert
Yeah.
Redford, I mean, really? Come on.
You know what they really need to do? They need to make a Marvel Transformers crossover
oh god.
and
Oh,
just
why?
make it ridiculous.
Okay,
Why
make
not?
it- make
Why
it-
not have Optimus
okay, this-
Prime fight Iron Man?
On the back of a dinosaur,
This
a real
talk
dinosaur.
of Michael Bay and Transformers,
Transformers
I
got
do
great
like to point
crosses,
out
yeah.
that they've been releasing stuff for the Ninja Turtles movie. Has anyone seen the shit from the Ninja Turtles movie yet?
All the turtles look like gross green tumors.
Shredder, though,
much, yeah.
Shredder, I gotta admit, the photo that's released to Shredder looks awesome.
Shredder looks
They got what's his name to
badass.
voice Shredder.
But that's
Willow.
because-
Michael Fittner,
Yeah.
the bad guy, that
But-
dick of a businessman from Elysium,
Yeah.
having
and the
not,
guy that gets shot by the Joker.
having not seen the previous Ninja Turtles movie, I don't think they should exist in any sort of real movie. I think
It's
they
not
should
even
stick to
real.
cartoons.
Yeah. It's just stupid. And they're aliens. And it's stupid.
They shouldn't
It's-
exist.
I just want to see the trailer so I can just just laugh.
Once they said Megan Fox is April O'Neil, I'm like, I'm done.
She's working with Michael Bay again. See, that's what blows my mind because
Well, the thing is, Steven Spielberg has nothing to do with this. So the reason she got left Dark of the Moon was because she got fired because of Steven Spielberg, because
Michael Bay wants
the
that.
anti-Semitic comments she made.
oh, she did. I thought it was over. She made fun of Michael Bay.
She said Michael Bay was like Hitler, and then Steven Spielberg, who's
Thought that
producer on
was
the
offensive.
film, found that offensive, so he
Alright,
fired
it's
her
funny
because he's Jewish. So that's
Oh,
what.
I'm Steven Spielberg.
But he has nothing to do with Ninja Turtles, so they're
Right.
working together.
Okay, so that's funny. I thought it was Michael Bay getting angry at her, but
Alright.
apparently
If
he
there's-
thinks he's just
Alright.
okay with
Well-
being called Hitler.
If there's a 20-minute part of the scene of the movie where it's just eating pizza, maybe that film will be salvageable.
And last night we also have a promo for the new season of 24. Jack Bauer going screaming his head off and shooting a gun at God knows who
England.
in
Yeah.
England. That's all in flames.
I mean, yeah, that'd be cool, but then again, 24 wasn't good for the last 2 seasons.
24, but it also has a James Bond title, Live Another Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean it's
Where's America?
Now they also had they showed it during the Super Bowl for Amazing Spider-Man. They also had an extended trailer, which was really interesting because for at least one of the characters, Electro, you see that there is this dynamic
There's an origin.
between.
Yeah.
There is an origin. I don't know about the other one. I mean, obviously for Green Goblin, they have to go something into that, but I think
Yeah.
they're just kind of going to gloss over.
I'm
it.
so unsure about that.
I did not.
you
even,
know the reason. Okay, I'm sorry.
I
to
did not
interrupt.
even know that Green Goblin was in the new movie
Is it
until I
Green
saw
Goblin
the
or
trailer.
Hobgoblin?
There's not confirmed.
It's isn't
It's
it? It's
Goblin.
Harry Osborn.
So it should
It had
be
Terry
Hobgoblin,
Osborn,
but
yeah.
it may
So it's
just
Green
be
Goblin.
Goblin.
It's
I think they're doing the same thing that Spider-Man 3 had, which was way too many villains.
We've touched on this.
And
That's basically the theme of this. Is
reveal,
like you make an argument that me and Adam have made, and I'm like, yeah.
they also kind of reveal
Whoopsie.
why Electro becomes a bad guy, and the explanation they kind of give is pretty lame.
Is it because he's electric?
No. What happens is, what happens is, early in the movie where he's like before he becomes Electro, he's like Spider-Man runs him and is like, "You're my eyes and ears," and he was like, so then later on,
Does Andrew Garfield say something racist? And
No, he's like, no,
Fox
he's
is
like-
"I'm going to hunt you for the rest of the movie."
no, he goes, "Hey, what's your name? Harry. You're my eyes and ears."
Max Dillon.
Max, and he's like, "My name's Max." He's like, "You're gonna be my eyes and ears out here, Max." So then, when he becomes Electro, he's in Times Square and he's like all like freaking out, like he's not sure what to do.
Looks like he's part of the Blue Man Group.
And people are like all freaking out at who he is, and then all of a sudden, Spider-Man, he's like, "I know who you are," and he's like, "What's your name?" And then he's like, "I can't believe you forgot
Max something."
Before he forgot, he's like, "Harry starts with an M." And he goes like, "You forgot who I am? How could you forget me?" And then he attacks Spider-Man. I'm like,
I mean-
is that going to be the explanation of why he becomes evil?
This is
That's
just the
pretty
trailer.
dumb.
They'll probably
That
get
is.
more into it.
But-
So dramatic.
You don't remember me? Like if I said that to if everyone was my arch enemy when they were like, "Hey, do you remember me?" and I was like, "No," I would have a lot of arch enemies.
yeah,
Be like, "You forgot me."
yeah, that's. You
And we're
actually
going to have
sound like
Paul
Dave.
Giamatti as a big angry rhino man, I
Who
guess.
has Gatling guns on him?
Of course.
In the trailer last
I
night.
don't like
in the
how they
trailer
give
last
Ryan
night.
guns.
In the trailer last night, they had Gatling guns on him.
Of course, why not? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
I still think the movie will be solid to watch. It won't be anything spectacular. But
So you're lowering your expectations from before.
Yeah.
no, I still have good expectations. But I really like how they seem to have kept some of his old school humor from back in the day.
I'll give him that.
Can we guess what Stan Lee's cameo is going to be? I'm going to say janitor.
One of the Sinister
He's gonna
Six.
be the gentleman.
A lab technician.
Stanley's actually got his own TV show now on the Hub. It's like Stan Lee and the Amazing Seven or something.
Stanley has several TV shows.
But
in
this is like
past
his
I
lives.
want someone to just string together like Stan Lee in all the films. To
Like
see what happens.
he is in this TV show as a major character.
There was like the funniest Stan Lee cameo was I think the one in Iron Man 2 where he's just. it was
That's
so
the one
bad.
where he
He's
thinks
Hugh
he's Hugh
Hefner.
Hefner, right?
It's so bad.
It's really funny.
My favorite one is in the Fantastic Four 2, where he's trying to get into the wedding.
Yeah. He's
It's like,
himself.
no, I'm really Stan Lee.
Here's the punchline: Fantastic Four 2.
Yo, they should make a Silver Surfer movie though. Just saying.
They're making Fantastic Four reboot.
No, they should make a Silver Surfer movie.
Well, they're
Where-
rebooting Fantastic
They
Four.
should never talk about the Fantastic Four again.
Every time
A
you make
huge
Fantastic
plastic man
Four
is
movie.
very strange.
Well, speaking of the Super Bowl, our pick of the week. I know we're just jumping around. Our pick of the week is our favorite Super Bowl commercial.
So three of us watched the Super Bowl. Alex, we can talk about your pick when we get to it.
Yes, my favorite part of the Super Bowl was watching Doctor Who instead of the Super Bowl.
As you do.
All right. Well, there's 3 commercials I actually really enjoyed last night. There was the time machine, the Dorito time machine commercial.
Okay.
I liked the Morpheus Matrix commercial
yeah,
at the
yeah.
end. I was like, what the hell? And then they had the M&M commercial where the yellow M&M's in the car, and he's being like, how this guy, he starts talking, he's like in Russian or something, and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to cut you into little pieces and then spray you over chocolate. And then all of a sudden they show the yellow M&M. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I had a couple picks too. I did really like the Morpheus one. It's just like that one was pretty cliche. You know, it's like pick the red key or the blue key for Kia, and then he picks the right key, and Morpheus is just sitting in the back,
Singing.
and then he starts singing opera, and the car starts flying, and just seeing Lawrence Fishburne sing opera in a flying Kia car after you played Morpheus is just like that was like a very very well played. I like the Radio Shack commercial where it was like making fun of itself being stuck in the 80s, and they had all these shout outs to the 80s
like movies and things. They had Alf and Boobo from Clash of the Titans, and Hulk Hogan was in it.
Chucky.
It's just really funny.
Chucky.
But my favorite commercial, I didn't really look it up, so I can't really tell you what it was for. It was a car commercial. Was the Bruce Willis?
Oh,
Where
he's
like,
hugging him by Fred
yeah,
Armisen.
Fred Armisen's hugging him. It's just the camera on Bruce Willis, and he's just like, you were expecting me to blow something up or shoot someone, but I just want you to give you a hug. And this camera slowly pans out. It's just, Fred there. He's just hugging him, and he's just this big grin on his face. And, like, it's just so funny. And it's like hashtag hug, and I was like, wow. That was the commercial that actually made me laugh.
I think my favorite might have been the Radio Shack, like, hey, the 80s called, they want their store back.
Yeah.
Or, honestly, the Colbert Pistachio one. Maybe just because I'm a fan of Colbert, I don't know, but I thought that one was pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
And then the Doritos ones are always great.
Yeah, they're
It's
pretty good.
fan-made.
Pretty good.
Oh, I forgot to mention the Coors Light commercial where they had the guy that wasn't an actor going around, and first they had Reggie, the DJ.
Reggie
with
Watts,
Yeah, Reggie Watts, and then they did a second half where they had Don Cheadle walk into an elevator with a llama. And then all of a sudden you have Arnold Schwarzenegger playing ping pong, and he's like playing ping pong test with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
They spent a lot of money on that.
And he has a Arnold Schwarzenegger has his wig on.
To make him look like he's from the 80s again.
Yeah, and he had a wig, and then he had the sweatpants. He had
really ugly.
Yeah.
That's entertaining to say the least.
It was kind of an interesting commercial. I don't know. I want to take my back and say the Scientology commercial was my favorite. Did you guys see that one really early on?
Which one?
There was the Church of Scientology paid for a Super Bowl ad.
No,
didn't see
I
that.
have to see this
Wow,
now.
that's awesome.
It's so simple. It was just like the truth, Scientology.
I have to look this up now.
That was really funny.
I also really like the some car commercial where they just got British actors to sound British and sophisticated.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
they had the Tom Hiddleston,
The Tom Hiddleston.
Mark Strong, and Ben Kingsley,
Oh, dude, that was so classy.
and they're like how villains are always played by Brits.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because we always think they're evil.
and they're also
And
all not
sophisticated,
America.
and they're talking about how sophisticated they are.
Yeah.
It was nice to have something
like
that wasn't
polite
as
people.
American patriotic for once.
Yeah, I don't know. Overall, they all sucked, but
We had this
those are
random,
some funny ones.
we had this random commercial last night too with that was a tax commercial out of fucking nowhere. I was like, first this guy's sitting on the couch and he's watching this TV and he's like, this announcer on top, he's like, so here you are watching the Super Bowl, not caring who wins or loses because your team didn't make it this year. It's like that year you didn't go to the prom with the girl that you want. So then it jumps
And
to
then taxes.
and then out of nowhere it's like, and then it jumps like it goes through how a play-by-play of prom and how he didn't have the date, and then all of a sudden he pulls out a computer and he's doing taxes. You're like, where did this come from?
Old Spice commercials make more sense.
I think it's a shame that the only time companies actually try for creativity with their commercials is during one of the biggest events in TV. For
American
a year.
TV.
American TV.
And there's this one going around where they're saying Coca-Cola. There's that controversy now with the Coca-Cola commercial where they're all speaking different languages.
I don't
People are
care.
like, if you're in America, speak English.
Coca-Cola is one of the most
Fuck
American brands, period.
Like, that's good. I like that commercial when those people should shut up.
I know.
And if I could say shut up in Spanish, I would say that.
And then they had, let's see, we had this
No
random
hop like
commercial
stupid.
we had some kid playing soccer and talking about how that he's like living life as it is, and all of a sudden it's for a luxury car, the Mascati or something like that.
Yeah, I'll say, that was pretty crazy. I had no idea what kind of car that was either.
Me either.
I want to talk about until it was like, I think it was Maserati on.
Maserati,
actually.
yeah.
I was like, after like last year, they had a couple like serious commercials. There were so many more this year where they were just trying to like pull your heartstrings. And like, fucking Budweiser, man.
Oh my God.
Shut the fuck up, dude. Your beer is not that good. And they're just like, this guy came back from Iraq and Budweiser. And
Through a parade.
This puppy and this horse got along. Budweiser. It's like, this has nothing to do with a bad beer. Like, come on, guys.
There's I think it was one for a truck where they just had the cow. You remember that one?
They're saying, I believe in miracles.
Yeah, and this cow's like, yeah, we just towed this cow all the way to
Like, it's just so weird because every once in a while you have
trucks.
there's like all these commercials yesterday about like soldiers returning home and stuff. Like,
That's a cliche.
it's like it was cliche. And the fact that it was like right next to like Arnold Schwarzenegger playing ping pong, like you're just like, what am I watching?
How about that halftime show?
We can talk about the halftime show if you want.
No, I'm just any thoughts
How
on
about it?
I can't believe they left those old homeless men give it up on stage with Bruno Mars. Red Hot Chili Peppers, man. They are not.
Hey, at least he wore his pants this time.
Yeah, not a dick sock. Bruno Mars was a very good performer. Too bad it's Bruno Mars.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Bruno Mars. Like,
He's all right.
He's one of those people that I respect. I'm just not a huge fan of him.
I feel the same way, James. And he had those moves last night. Did you see his footwork, man? I was like, damn. All the ladies would be like, damn.
His legs were Twizzlers.
But then, like, at this one point, you know, they let the Red Hot Chili Peppers on the stage, and it was just so painful. All these old, like, veiny, fat men without their shirts just, like, screaming and being loud. Like, I'm like, who let these guys out of their box? It's just like, they could have just let, like, criminals out of there. It would have been the same effect, and they put them right back, and Bruno Mars is like, yeah.
Well, you know, it's not a Super Bowl halftime show if it's not a train wreck at some point.
Yeah. I mean, other than that, it was
It was
very,
better
very
than
solid.
Beyonce's last year.
Talk about a great beginning to that, where it's just Bruno Mars doing a drum solo. Like,
Yeah.
I was all about that.
And then they end it with him fireworks coming out of his face.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I
they,
must
with the
have missed that
TV on the TV, they edited it so it looks like fireworks are coming off of his face.
Yeah, I mean, it was overall an okay halftime show. There were better ones.
Better than Beyonce.
Better than Beyonce. Better than Madonna.
Best halftime show ever? Black Eyed Peas.
No, best halftime show
Stop.
ever was the year of 2004. Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson.
I saw a funny tweet today where it's just like, man, I saw so many nip slips with the Red Hot Chili Peppers last night because none of them were wearing shirts.
All right, that's all we have.
That's a great place to end. Geek
Yeah.
Talk.
Yes, that is. That's all we have for today.
This has been Nipple Talk.
Yeah.
Nips.
I'm Alex Hagendas Fredrickson.
I'm Dog.
Fredrickson the Third.
James.
James, whatever.
Yeah. And I'm Zachariah Zack Attack Swope, and this is
Geek Talk.
But seriously, quick Monday.